second. Okay, we are live.
So today I was going to talk to y'all about starching. I think that's like the number one question that I've gotten from all of you. And I want to first say that this is not my method. I didn't come up with it. Lisa Bonjean taught this to me about 3 years ago, and ever since then, this is kind of what I do. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is if you're using pre-cuts for a project, I would not pre-starch unless you know that when you starch, there is going to be shrinkage. So what I did was I starched this square and let it dry overnight. And you will see when I put it on top of here, or actually I'll put one that's a different color. In one direction, you're going to notice there's no shrinkage. In the other direction, there's like maybe 1/4 of an inch shrinkage. And that's going to always happen. So if you need a 5-inch charm pack, you cannot starch. But if you needed a 4.5 inch, of course you could starch. So if I'm doing a pre-cut project, if it's like a jelly roll, charm pack, mini charm pack, I generally do not starch. But if it's a fat quarter project, I will starch. So, do we have any questions from that yet?
Not yet. People are still saying hello.
Okay. Good morning. I'm super tired. I had to go get Starbucks. I'm super not awake yet. So that's kind of like the general stuff on pre-cuts is to be really careful, because if you need the full size, you should not starch. And when you starch, it's going to shrink your fabric. So you just have to keep that in mind. It's kind of like washing it in the washing machine. The reason that I don't wash in the washing machine is because it takes kind of the stiffness out that comes with the fabric, and I don't like that, because then you have to iron it and add stiffness back. So I'm going to show you how I starch. I use Faultless Premium Starch. It's got a gold lid. I just get it at like the grocery store or Costco. A lot of grocery stores don't sell it, so it can be hard to find. So this is for a project I'm going to do today. It's a fig tree dot, and it's like 1/3 of a yard maybe. And I'm just going to show you what I do. I basically just soak it and make sure every single section is covered.
We do have a question. Angela's asking, what's the biggest piece you'd starch?
Probably 4 yards. And I would probably, like if I'm doing a border, like a big length of border or something, I would trim it down, but give, extra, like a couple inches extra, trim it down, and then I would starch it in sections. And then if I'm doing a project like, it's just like a background piece, I would just do like a yard at a time. So it's completely soaked on one side. And you see it's dripping down. I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. And also on my board, I put a little white, just whatever. It's just a leftover. This is actually a leftover piece of fabric from the Sew Sampler quilt for 2018. It's just left over. I had extra. So I just am using that. And it'll dry, so you can just keep using it over and over.
All right, we have a question on Instagram. When you measure charm pack square, do you measure from the pinked edge or cut them off?
Pink edge. And, okay, so I've got everything covered. Now, with this, I'm going to lay it on my bathtub. You can either lay it like this to dry, or you can lay it open to dry. So I'm going to kind of show you 2 ways. She's going to move the camera, and I'll show you kind of what I do. And to be clear, I don't use this bathtub. This is like an extra room, and I don't use this bathtub because I would not use chemicals with bathtub. So this is actually from yesterday. I dried this. So you can see it's like nice and dry. These are already done from yesterday. So basically you can lay this on your bathtub like this, but if you want it to dry quicker, which I do because I want to use this today, I would open it and lay it and make sure there's no wrinkles or anything, because when it dries, that's going to kind of leave a crease. So I just leave it kind of flat, and that'll probably dry in like 4 hours. In general, I try to starch and let it sit for 24 hours. So I'll do another piece. maybe 3/8 of a yard or so. And for a quilt, maybe like a twin size, it probably uses 4 to 5 cans of starch. But I think that doing the starch gives, I have more accuracy when I do the starch, and I have to steam it less, so that saves me time. And I don't have to steam and starch as I go, which saves me time. So I feel like it's a lot of work up front, and then later it's just, it saves me time later. And this is something you would want to try on a small project first, because you might hate it. This might not be something you like. It's just the way I do it. You don't have to do everything the way I do it. But yeah, I'm definitely just coating it, starching. It's covered in starch.
People are asking why so much starch.
It's got to be even. And it's got to be stiff. And if you just do a little bit, it might leave splotches. And I don't know, it just works for me, I guess. So yeah. And like I said, this is definitely not for everybody. So then I'm going to kind of hold it out like this and put it on my bathtub to dry.
And we got a question, is it okay to starch after you sew the block together?
Yeah, and I used to do that. It's just when you add water to your block, it's going to shrink. So by doing this, it shrinks before, and so your block is more accurate. But I did that for years, and it totally works, and it's totally fine. So you can totally do that. Let's see, I'll just keep doing more while you ask questions, because I do need to use the starter today. So.
People are asking, why would you starch in general?
It gives my fabric a stiffness, and it gives me more accuracy, because everything is very firm and stiff. And then if you starch as you go during a project, your fabric is going to shrink, just like I showed in the beginning. I'll show you all again. This is a turn pack. Let's see. This is like a normal turn pack, 5 inches. It has not been starched. This one has been starched. So in one direction, it shrinks. One direction, it shrinks about 1/4 inch. And the other direction, it doesn't shrink at all. So if you starch up front, your block's not going to shrink after you make it, and then it just saves time, because if I starch as I go, then I have to wait till it dries, and I like to squirt up my block. So I don't want to like starch at the very end, then wait for it to dry, then squirt it up. This is just easier and quicker. It's just a lot of upfront work, but I love it. Like, I would never not do this. The only thing I would say that's controversial is I don't starch the back. So when it gets quilted and it gets washed, the back is going to shrink, and the front is not going to shrink. But kind of said it before, I never wash my quilts, so it really doesn't matter. And I mean, like my kids' quilts, they get washed, and I don't care if they're messed up. But like the stuff that I spend hours on, I don't usually wash them, so.
We've got a question from Melinda on YouTube. Can you just blow dry it?
Oh, I have no idea. I guess you could. I don't know. I guess you could. So I'm just going to lay this one in this little spot. So that one, I'm going to actually I don't have enough room to go long ways, so I'm just going to double it up. And then like in an hour or two, I'll flip it, like I'll change the location, and it'll just keep drying. And then, so I'll use this whole bathtub. And then I have a shower. And when I use the shower, what I do is I get just cheap, like hangers, and I'll put the fabric over a hanger, and then I'll just hang those up. I've done it before where I just have like a little rack outside, and I just like, if it's really hot, because we're in Texas and I need it done really fast, I might just stick it outside. But yeah, it does, it's definitely not for everybody, I will say. This method is not for everybody, but I would love for all of y'all to try it and just let me know if it works or what you think. I mean, most of my quilting friends think I'm absolutely crazy and out of my mind. But Lisa Bonjean does it. She's the one who came up with it. And her quilts are amazing, and she uses a lot of like tiny, tiny, tiny pieces. So accuracy when you're working with really tiny pieces, accuracy is really important. So.
All right. Casey on Instagram is asking, could you use the liquid starch and dunk the fabric in it, then let it dry?
Yeah, I think you could. I've never tried it, but I'm sure you could. I've never done it, but I'm pretty clumsy, so I think if I had a bucket of starch, it would be all over this bathroom.
Someone is asking if it's true that if you starch, bugs are more attracted to it because of the carbohydrates in it.
I've never had a problem, so I mean, it's probably, but I don't really store my quilts in boxes. Like I never put them in like a cardboard box. I have them on shelves. I leave them on shelves, and I've never had an issue. But I'm not saying that you couldn't have an issue, but I've never had an issue with it.
All right, we've got lots of questions. This is kind of a repeat, but how would you starch a large piece like a background?
Okay, so let me lay this one down and then I'll explain what I do. So this one back up. Okay, and then just to clarify, I would never put two pieces of fabric on top of another piece just because it takes too long to dry. So if I had one thing that I do that is also probably like something that other people do is I never piece my borders. I do not like to put width of width and have a diagonal in my border. I always use length of fabric. So if the pattern calls for it to be cut with the fabric and then pieced together, I just calculate what I need for a length and I order a length because I don't have time to piece that seam. I don't want to do the seam. I don't want to have to draw the line. It's a big seam. I don't want a big seam on my quilt. So when I have big length of fabric, which I will have on the quilt that I'm working right now, say it's a 6.5 inch by 70 inches. I'll start with like 78 inches or 75 inches. And did I say 6.5? So if I said 6.5, then I would cut it like 8. I would give it like 1.5 inches or 2 just so that you have room to trim up. And I would starch the whole thing. Now on a piece that big, I have a tile floor in my bathroom. I would lay it on the tile floor to dry. It will take longer because there's nowhere for that liquid to go, like in the bathtub, it goes in the drain. But I don't want any creases, so I will just kind of lay it where it's just flat. It'll take a little bit longer to dry. For backing, I don't do the backing. I should, I just don't have time and don't want to mess with it. My binding, I do starch my bindings. I feel like it helps hold that crease when you fold it in half. And another thing that I do is like if you're working on a pattern and maybe it's a background piece and it's 4 yards, and you're just going to be chopping up the whole 4 yards, I will cut that into approximately 1 yard cuts, starch them, and let them dry. And like I might just starch. I have like a whole method of how I keep my fabric, what's starched, what's not starched, but I can easily tell when I touch this fabric that it's starched. You could just tell when it's starched. And so I'm going to be using this one today. So I had it starched last night, and it's got a couple of creases. I'll iron that. It'll be perfect. It'll be ready to go. It'll be super stiff and ready. But I can just tell by touching these, because I have 2 that are starched and 2 that aren't, and I can easily tell which ones are and which ones aren't. And I keep 2 drawers. One has, they're for my leftover fabric. So like one drawer, well, actually I have 3 drawers. One is all my like charm packs that are like leftover, and I'll just keep those because I can just use those for anything. Or if my daughter wants to sew, she can just grab them. And then I have one drawer where it's like leftover fabrics that were starched, and then one drawer that's like leftover fabrics that were not starched. And so I'll just give them to friends, but then when I give it to them, if I don't ever use them, like I'll keep it for like a year. If I don't use it after a year, I'm not going to keep it. But some stuff I use over and over, like Lori Holt's fabric, Bonnie Camille, Big Tree. I use all their fabrics all the time, so I never give those away. But I don't always starch. Like if I'm just making, like if my little boys wanted like Pokemon quilt, I am not going to starch that because I know I'm going to wash it a million times. I know it's not going to be like an heirloom, but a lot of what I quilt is for work, and it's super, super, super complicated. So I need that fabric. I need that quilt to last longer, and I want the accuracy. But you know, if I'm just making a gift, I'm not going to starch. Um, but if it's something that I love and I'm going to keep and it's going to be for me, I definitely starch.
All right. Miles on Instagram is asking, does starching keep the fabric from fraying?
Yeah, it's way better. I think it does. Yeah, I think it does.
And Sarcastic Stitches is asking, if you don't wash the quilts, what do you do if they get something on them?
Well, if they get something on them, I'll wash them, but I would probably like try to get the stain out myself without washing the whole quilt. But if I wash it, I would wash it on gentle. I would never put it in the dryer. I would hang it outside over a fence. When my kids were little, like they're much older now, but you know they would puke on stuff. And, oh, so gross. One time we had the stomach bug, and I swear like every quilt was run. But I still like hand tried to get the stains out. Some of the stains never came out, but I still just never put it in the dryer, hung it over. I can remember one day we had like 4 quilts on the back fence because, and they still have all those quilts. It's just, if it's like an heirloom, I don't know. And I'm also super like OCD about like stuff. Like my boys know there's quilts they can use. And then like you just, like in the playroom, we have like a ton of quilts. I don't care if those get messed up. But like stuff that has like intricate points and like paper piecing and like crazy stuff. I'm just like they don't. It's just hidden from them.
Angela on Facebook is asking, so is it okay not to lay the fabric completely flat? Just try and prevent wrinkles in the fabric as it lays. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it's gonna all iron out. But if I lay it in one layer, it's gonna dry quicker. If I lay it in 2 layers, it's gonna dry slower. So I will move it. But yeah, all that stuff is gonna come out with an iron, and you really don't even have to steam at that point. I mean, I'll use steam, but it'll just the creases, like the creases in this, they're gonna come right out in like 2 seconds.
All right. And someone on YouTube is asking, is there a special detergent you use if you do wash them?
I use Drift, and that's actually what I use for my clothes because I'm allergic. Well, I wouldn't say I was allergic, but sometimes I'll get like red swatches. So I actually just use Drift all the time. And then if I was going to use it, I would put a color catcher. I think they're by Tide or something. I would put a color catcher in there. Also, even if it doesn't have red, I would just throw a color catcher in there. But I use Drift. It's just kind of like what I use, I guess.
Cool. And then someone is asking, do you iron them after they are dry?
Yes. So I'll iron this. Like on this board, I leave this board in my bathroom, and I only starch on this board because this is going to be super wet. And I don't, like, this is just, I don't want this all messed up. But by tomorrow, this will be dry. So I'll just starch in here, but in my sewing room, I'll iron. Because I don't want this to get on the wet part and then get wet again, because then I have to wait for it to dry again.
All right. And Suki80 on Instagram is asking, how many cans do you go through in a month?
Oh, 20. This is, so for those 4 pieces, this is almost out. A ton. And so, yeah, it's hard to buy on Amazon, actually. They charge you shipping on the item. So I actually will try to go to Costco, or we have an HEB. HEB is kind of like a Texas thing, but when HEB buys it, they only get like 8 cans. So every time I go to the grocery store, I'll just buy all the 8 cans, and I never, like, I'll run out all the time.
All right. Juanita on YouTube is asking, how do you feel about the Stay Flow water and vodka mixture?
I have no idea. Is that the starch mix? I think that's how you mix the starch. I've never tried it, so I don't really know anything about it, but if it works for you, do it. Yeah, I've never done it.
All right. Okay, on Facebook we have a question. If you only starch the front but not the back, and why would the back shrink?
Well, the back wouldn't be, because there's no starch on the back, it didn't shrink. Like I was showing you on the turn packs how it shrinks one direction, the fabric will shrink one direction. so the back hasn't been shrinked. Now, if I wanted to, I could just wash it. If you have a piece that's like 5 yards or 3.5 yards, it's really hard to starch and have a place for it to dry and not get spots, because if you put a bunch of fabric, like if you lay the fabric on top of each other, it might get spotty from the starch, like, I don't know, like too much starch on one side. So I probably should just wash the back. But at that point, I'm just too lazy. I just don't. I mean, I should. Basically, what I'm saying is I should starch the back or I should wash the back, but I just don't.
All right, back to the ironing. When you iron, do you use steam?
Yes. Yeah, you don't have to, but yeah, I use steam. Unless I'm paper piecing, like yesterday I was working on paper piecing, I don't use steam when I paper piece, but otherwise I do.
All right, and from Instagram, any suggestions on a starch brand that would be more readily available?
Well, I mean, you can find it. It's just not every grocery store, so I think you can find it enough. I've never really, I started quilting 20 years ago, and Debbie Taylor, who used to work for us, was my first teacher, and she recommended this brand, and I just kind of it's just what I started with and never tried anything else. So I'm sure other stuff would work. I did find years ago there was one that I would use, and it was the same brand, but it would leave white flakes. So this one says no flaking on dark colors. So that would be the only thing that I would say is just make sure you don't get one where when you do iron it, those flakes come up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure this method would work with any starch. I'm just showing you kind of like what works for me, which y'all are going to notice when you watch my videos, I'm kind of a creature of habit. If something works, I just stick with it. I don't change very much. I'm pretty OCD.
All right. What else can you use the starch on?
I guess you could use it on clothes if you iron your clothes. Like you'll notice I always wear t-shirts, so I don't really iron my clothes, but yeah, I'm sure you could use it on clothes. That's what it's meant for.
Nice. And I think you kind of answered it, but someone was asking what's the benefit of starching versus pre-washing?
So it's okay. So I used to pre-wash 20 years ago when I first took my first quilting class. The place had like a million rules, and they were like, you have to do it this way, this way, this way, this way. And I totally got frustrated and gave up like after a year because I was like, this is just too many rules and too much like rigid stuff. And I did pre-wash then, but when you pre-wash, I feel like there's a stiffness that comes with the fabric, and when you pre-wash, it kind of goes away. So then you have to iron, and then you have to starch so that it's actually flat. Because I'm very particular about before I cut my fabric, it being completely no wrinkles or anything. Because if there's a wrinkle in it and you cut, then your accuracy is going to be off. So I think the starching is quicker, and it just has the stiffness. I mean, you can see like this is. I mean, it's hard to see, but if you touch it, you know that it's got a stiffness to it, and it's just easier to quilt with. But a lot of people do pre-wash. It's really, the thing I think about quilting that I think is great is you should just do whatever works for you. Like, you shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm going to do that because Kimberly Jolly does it. Because if you don't like it, you're not going to enjoy it. And that's what I found, because the first quilt shop I went to, they were like, you can only use this thread. You can only use this brand. You can only do this. When you quilt, you have to use this other thread. There were like all these rules. And it just became overly complicated. So you should really just do what works for you. And like I was saying, on this method, you should just try it on something super small, like make a table runner, or make something small. Because if you hate it, and you start, and you're making this queen size quilt, you're going to be like, oh, I hate this method. Kimberly Jolly sucks. You're going to hate the whole thing. So you should definitely try it on something small to make sure that it works for you. And again, I just want to credit Lisa Bonji, because this is her method. I didn't come up with it, but ever since she showed me, I was just like, we have a video on YouTube where she actually teaches it to me. It's probably like 3 years old, but yeah, it's definitely her method.
All right. On Instagram, someone's asking why hand starch as opposed to liquid starch that you could just pour in the sink and mix to your specifications.
Oh, you can definitely do that. It's just too much work for me. And like I said earlier, I'm pretty clumsy, so I would probably kick the can over. Like I would probably just like, and my dog, he's outside right now, but he's always with me. He would probably jump in there and try to take a bath with it.
All right. Missy on YouTube is asking, how is sizing different from starch?
I don't know. I don't know, but I think that would work too. Um, I think that I have a friend. I think Debbie Taylor might also use sizing, so I think it's kind of the same thing.
All right. Uh, Donna on Facebook is asking, did you do this to the material you used for the half square triangle pillow?
So on that, I didn't because it is when we made the pillows, you needed pretty much most of the 5-inch square. And if you can tell from here, a 1/4 inch came off. And so it would have been a little too short. So generally, if I'm using charm packs, mini charm packs, jelly rolls, I will not starch. Now, if I'm using a layer cake and the pattern doesn't need the full 10 inches and maybe it only needs like 9.5 or 9, I definitely will starch. And fat quarters always starch, fat eighths, I do starch.
All right. And Nancy on Facebook is curious what color nail polish you're using.
Oh, Cajun Shrimp by OPI, and my one nail is like messed up. But, so let's go get that fixed. I need to go get that fixed. I need to get my hair dyed because my hair is like driving me crazy. But it's just one of those things. Do I quilt or do I go get my hair done? And there's probably nothing that I don't like. I don't like to drive. That's one thing I don't like to do. The other thing, I don't like to get my hair done because I don't like it. I don't like people touching my hair.
All right. And some people are wondering if this is going to be posted later somewhere.
Yeah, so we will post it on the Facebook page. On Instagram, it'll disappear after 24 hours, and it'll also be on YouTube. And then I also wanted to invite all of you guys to join my Facebook group called Kimberly's Stitch Squad. We have over 1,000 members, and it's really awesome because people are posting the most fabulous pictures of like their dogs, their pillows, their quilts. Like, there's so many ideas that you can get from what other people are doing, and they're really doing beautiful work. And I love I'd love to get on there and would love to see what all of you guys are making. And like a lot of people will just ask questions. And sometimes I don't answer because I don't know. Like somebody was asking about an embroidery machine. Well, I don't know anything about an embroidery machine, but somebody else in the group will. So it's a good place where you can just ask questions and yeah, it's fun.
Some people on Instagram were like, it's hard to hear.
Oh yeah, sorry. I guess our yard is getting cut right now. It was not supposed to be today, but we had a huge rainstorm, and they were supposed to come 2 days ago, but it finally dried up, so I guess they just showed up.
All right. Robin on YouTube is asking if the Facebook group is private.
It is private, but all you have to do is hit request to join, and I go in there like 10 times a day and approve people.
All right. And more general quilting question. Sylvia is asking, is quilting hard for someone who's never done it? What can I start to do as a beginner?
Like as a beginner, I would get maybe a chart pack because that's already pre-cut and just stitch them together. I think taking a class in a local quilt shop might be good. The biggest thing to watch for when you're starting is your accuracy of your 1/4 inch foot, and I would kind of start there. Just something really easy because when I first started quilting, I signed up for this class and it was like this year-long thing. It was so hard. And I got discouraged so easily. So I would say do something fun, small, and easy so you don't get discouraged.
All right, and we've got a couple people asking what the Facebook group is called.
Kimberly's Stitch Squad. And if it becomes overwhelming because people are posting so much, just hit turn off notifications, and then you'll just see all that stuff in your feed, and you can, but it won't like annoy you with all the like pop-ups. And I try to post once a day. So today my post will be this, but I try to post different things. And if there's anything that y'all want to see specifically, because like starching was one of the questions that we got so many times, and that's why we did it. Anything you want to see, like if I can do it, I'll do it. Like some stuff I have no idea how to do. Like I don't know, like applique. I can do it. I hate it. It doesn't look good. It never looks good. So I'll probably not do that. But if it's something that I'm comfortable with, that I feel like, yeah, I can teach you something, I definitely will. If it's something I'm not good at, I don't want to do it because then I'll teach you all wrong.
All right, and let's see here. Oh, people are saying they love your shirt and want to know where you got it.
So it is a Lori Holt shirt. It's called, it says take just one stitch at a time, and then it has her company name on the back. So Lori Holt's a fabric designer for Riley Blake, and we produce her books. And so this is a Lori Holt shirt that you can find at Quarter Shop.
Right. And this is just like my own curiosity. How long do you leave it in there?
Okay, so when I have the fabric, if you leave it 24 hours, it will be totally dry. Like there will, even if you have a bunch layered, it will be totally dry. Like probably in about 6 hours, it'll be dry, but I will have to iron it a little bit. So yeah, 24 hours for sure, 8 to 10 maybe. And also like I'll open the windows. I don't have both windows open right now, but I will definitely open the windows because if there's like sun, it will help it kind of go faster. And if I'm like in a huge hurry, I'll just get like a hanger, put the fabric over a hanger, and then go outside and just on my porch, like find somewhere to hang it because it's so hot in Texas, it'll be faster. But then you're gonna get a crease. Then it's funny because then you get it like when you take it off. There's this like huge crease right here. It comes right out, but it's hilarious.
All right, and I think we are out of questions.
Oh yeah. So I was going to show y'all our awesome Sew Sampler box. This is the box we've been doing 2 years. It's super popular. It's probably the most popular thing that we have on our website, and everyone should have their box for March. So I was just going to kind of show you. We got a lot of questions in my group because people are showing their box, and then people are asking, well, what is that? So I thought that I would show y'all this box. It comes in a pretty little aqua box. Cute little thing, and then there's like a little piece of paper here that kind of holds everything in. And then what it always comes with is this super awesome paper, and what it does, it tells you every single thing that is in there. It has a coupon, like right now this month is a 10% off Fat Quarter bundles if you're a member. This on the back shows you get a recipe card to make. Last year you got a recipe card once a month, and then now we've included the finishing so you can actually finish your quilt. So that's in there. This is what the recipe card looks like. This is the block, and then this is the finishing. And so if you sign up now and you start with the April 2000, we in 2018? 2018. Yeah. See, that's how busy I am. So if you start with in April 2018, it's a whole nother series of 12, and that quilt is finished. I made it. It's fabulous. I guess a hint I could give you is this white branches in it, and it's really awesome. It's different. It's different than anything we've ever done, but it's definitely, I would say, next year's theme. Definitely like the farmhouse Joanna Gaines. That's kind of our inspiration for it. So we put a cute little sticker just for fun. This month had true grips, which are really awesome. There's like little circle rings, and you can put them on the back of your ruler. Like if you have creative grids, you wouldn't need it. But if sometimes you have a specialty ruler that might need it, this is great. And then a creative grids, these rulers are awesome. The log cabin trim tool, there's a lot of different sizes in this one. And it's really, I really like it because you make it bigger and you trim it down, and knowing how OCD I am, I love everything to be exact, so this is in there. And this fabric, which is the ombre metallic, ombre confetti metallic by Vanessa Gertson, it has probably been our best-selling collection on the website in the last year. It sold out so fast, and you get this wonderful pattern. And so the wonderful thing about it is you get the pattern, you get the fabric, you use the ruler when you make it, and then you can actually make something with what comes in the box. There's always, so what we always have is we always have one fabric and then 4 notions or something to go with it, pattern, notion, something like that. And then also these are so cute. This is a cute rose quartz looking Fat Quarter Shop tape measure, and it's got a little star, and it says Fat Quarter Shop, and it's so cute. So that's in there also, and we would love for you guys to sign up. And I love seeing all your photos, like in the group and on the Fat Quarter Shop page, showing us what you make from it. And thanks for joining us today. We'll regroup next week, either Thursday or Friday. And if y'all want to send ideas in, especially on the Kimberly Stitch Squad, I will see that before. If you post something on the Fat Quarter Shop page, I'm not going to see that as quick as I would on the Kimberly Stitch Squad. But if you have like an idea or suggestion, definitely send it in. And thanks for watching.
Real quick, can you just let people know that the video tutorial for that will be out tomorrow?
Yes. Yes, so Lily's here with me, and there is a video tutorial that we're going to post tomorrow on this, and it will help you when you make your quilt.
Alright, let's end it.